Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So we're covering mantra 9 today. It's a new section. Mantras 1, 2, 3 covered how to live in harmony with the Supreme Lord by following the Ishavasya principle and the understanding of the invocation. Then mantras 4 to 8, how to see the Lord through devotion and understanding the Lord's potencies and energies. And now mantras 9 to 11, correct and incorrect understanding of the Supreme Lord, or correct and incorrect knowledge of understanding the Supreme Lord. So just recap, what are some of the qualities or characteristics of the Supreme Lord that we covered last week? Not you. He has no veins. Anything else? He is everywhere. And if he's everywhere, what can he do? What specific things were mentioned in mantra 8 that he does? That's very important for us. Because we are I, M, P, U, impure. So if we are impure, what do we need? We need a purifying agent. And Krishna is the most purifying agent. The Lord is always pure and uncontaminated. Sri Isopanisad describes him as Sudam, antiseptic. If you think, no, I can't associate Krishna, I'll contaminate him. I'm too fallen. Okay. That means you're so fallen that you're thinking you're fallen, and you're gonna impact Krishna. So yes, you're definitely very fallen if you think like that. But you will not be able to impact Krishna negatively, because Krishna is antiseptic and is apapavidam, prophylactic, which means he doesn't get impure, but if you remember him and associate with him, you become pure. He has the power to influence. He's antiseptic in the sense that even an impure thing can become purified just by touching him. The word prophylactic refers to the power of his association. So this was the main focus of that verse. And Prabhupada, at the end of that mantra, gave us some hope. Even if one is impure, of bad character, doesn't matter how fallen he is, but because he's on the right path of spiritual practice, and because Krishna has these qualities and he's associating Krishna, he will become successful. It's only a question of time. Okay, it's a question of time. Everyone gets purified to the degree that they want to get purified. Krishna doesn't force purification. And therefore, it's simply a journey of how long or how short you want to take on the path of spiritual life. But it is not a mental concoction. It is not like, okay, now I'm purified. No, it's a genuine practice of purification. So today's verse we're going to cover, very, very important and pertinent verse also. Okay, we can repeat. Andam tama pravishyanti ye vidyam upasate tato bhuya iva te tamo yayu vidyayam rata. andam tama praveshanti ye vidyam upasate tato bhuya iva te tamo yayu vidyayam ratha. Those who engage in the culture of omniscience activities, that means activities of ignorance, shall enter into the darkest region of ignorance. Worse still are those engaged in the culture of so-called knowledge. So both mantras 9, 10, and 11 are going to be talking about the same aspects, vidya and avidya. So you'll see vidyam or avidyam, this is avidyam, and vidya. Okay, avidyam, ignorance, and vidya, knowledge. So they're going to, the 9, 10, and 11 are going to be talking about these two aspects in different ways, which we will talk about. Now, this whole mantra is going to be speaking about knowledge and ignorance, which is important because it can lead us to accept things which are not true. So look at this picture and tell us if something's wrong. The one that's in front of you. Exactly. Right? But if you don't know Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, you wouldn't pick it up. Right? Now, somebody obviously took the picture and they turned the picture. Right? And then, okay, this looks nice. But hold on, it's not a matter of nice. Yeah. So truth is vidyam, truth is truth and cannot be tainted, twisted, misinterpreted. Because if you do that, it's going to fall in the category of avidya, ignorance. And this verse is going to be speaking about that. Okay? That ignorance, if you don't know Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, that's ignorance. But if you know them and now you twist the information, oh, it looks very nice. Oh, no, I like it like this. Nope. Right? In fact, if you do that, you go to a worse destination than if you don't know them. Okay? So that's the sum and substance of that verse. So having received, in relation to what we've covered up to verses 1 to 8, having received the complete vision of Sri Isopanisad in invocation and mantras 1 to 8, we now receive further guidance on which types of knowledge to seek and which types of practices to follow so that we may also realize this vision. So Sri Isopanisad, the first 1 to 8 verses laid the foundation. This is the building blocks. This is what's the goal. This is what life is all about. Now, what types of knowledge are there that will either lead us to the goal or distract us from the goal? Okay, two types of knowledge. And here you'll see in broad categories, there's spiritual knowledge and there's material knowledge. And which one is required for perfection? Spiritual? Both. So if you say, okay, only spiritual, these verses 9, 10, 11 will tell you you're on the wrong track. If you think material, you're on the wrong track. Both, yes. Now, material knowledge if we say, okay, material knowledge is important, verses 11 will tell us what type of material knowledge is important. Okay, so both is important, but what type? Now, we're just going to cover a little of the verses 9, 10, 11. So if we look at the meaning of verses 9, 10, and 11, it literally seems very confusing because, as we said, all three are talking about vidya, knowledge, and avidya. But they're telling different things. So mantra 9 says, both vidya and avidya is bad. Those who are engaged in the culture of Nishan activities, avidya, they go to the darkest region of ignorance. And worse still are those who engage in avidya. Sorry, the first one is avidya, they go to the darkest region of ignorance. Worse still are those engaged in the culture of so-called vidya. So here, both avidya and so-called vidya, so-called knowledge, vidya, you go down to the darkest region of ignorance. So in this verse, both is bad. 10 says vidya and avidya will give different results. And 11 says vidya and avidya have to be cultivated together to attain liberation. So if you had to read these verses without the purports, you'll be totally confused. Because you say, hold on, first one is saying vidya and avidya are both bad. Okay. Next one is saying you get different results. Well, if they're both bad, then you're getting bad results. Maybe different. Okay. One bad and one very bad. Okay. Then 11 says vidya and avidya have to be cultivated together to attain liberation. Hold on. First two verses are talking about going down. 11 verses talking about going up. Something's not right here. Yes. Because you need disciplic succession to understand these verses. So the meanings of avidya and vidya are different in the three verses. And mantra 9 is specifically talking about three aspects. Those who neglect spiritual knowledge enter into darkness. Comparative study of vidya and avidya, and three kinds of so-called knowledge that we're going to cover. And Srila Prabhupada is going to cover true vidya. So Prabhupada is going to tell us three types of so-called vidya, that means so-called knowledge, which is dangerous. Prabhupada is going to tell us what avidya is, what ignorance is. And then Prabhupada is also in the purport, and he's going to tell us this three times in the purport, what vidya is. He's going to repeat it three times, going to emphasize it. And you'll see it will come up as we go through the purports. So first is knowledge and ignorance. This mantra offers a comparative study of vidya and avidya. Avidya or ignorance is undoubtedly dangerous. But vidya or knowledge is even more dangerous when mistaken or misguided. Ignorance is bad, but knowledge that is misdirected or mistaken or misguided is even worse. This mantra of Sri Isopanisad is more applicable today than at any time in the past. Modern civilization has advanced considerably in the fields of mass education, but the result is that people are more unhappy than ever before because of the stress placed on material advancement to the exclusion of the most important part of life, the spiritual aspect. So Prabhupada is already hinting that real vidya truly means focus on spiritual life. Okay, you cannot have true knowledge without spiritual life. If you think I can be happy in the material world minus spiritual life, good luck. It's never going to work because that formula doesn't exist.
Once when they were setting up the Gurukul, then Srila Prabhupada's time, they asked Srila Prabhupada if they should teach subjects like biology. Prabhupada said, yes, you should teach them, but also teach them who created this?
Yes. So material knowledge is there, but they connect it to Krishna, understanding who's the source. So avidya is ignorance, undoubtedly dangerous. Vidya, knowledge, is more dangerous when mistaken or misguided. That's one of, you could say, the essential understanding of this verse. So what is knowledge? Here's the uh, first paragraph where Prabhupada is now talking about what is real knowledge. As far as Vidya is concerned, the first mantra has explained very clearly that the Supreme Lord is the proprietor of everything and that forgetfulness of this fact is ignorance. The more a man forgets this fact of life, the more he is in darkness. In view of this, a godless civilization directed towards a so-called advancement of education is more dangerous than a civilization in which the masses are less educated. So you'll see the same comparison. If you advancing minus Krishna, you're more fallen than if you're really ignorant. Because if you're advancing, you should be also advancing and understanding the higher purposes of life. But if you're not, it means you are more ignorant. And the first mantra, as Prabhupada is explaining, our understanding our relationship with Krishna, that is vidya. Forgetting that is ignorance. So just consider now, we forgot that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is ignorance. If that's not bad enough, not only have we forgotten our relationship with Krishna and Krishna, but we also have taken a wrong identity. That means we forgot we spirit souls, and now we've taken a wrong identity thinking this is me, the body. Okay, that's worse enough. Now, if that's not bad enough, that you forgot Krishna, you forgot your identity, you took on a wrong identity, you now even totally, insanely attached to this identity. Okay, and to such an extent that you're totally bound by this identity. And if anybody tries to tell you anything or tries to separate you from this identity, you react. And if that's not worse enough, you try to extend your sense pleasure based on this misidentification and try to enjoy things related to this body. So for us to go back to reality and the truth means we really have to start focusing away from sense pleasure, external sense pleasure, to go more internal, understanding our identity, and then finally reviving our relationship with Krishna. So real vidya is really reawakening that relationship with Krishna, and to constantly remind us that this is not our identity. The material body is not our identity, and if the material body is not our identity, then the pleasures and pains of the body has truly nothing to do with us. See? We have totally separate, unique pleasures and pains. The pleasures and pains of the body is simply temporary, material, and ignorance. Okay. Whereas the pleasures of the soul is totally spiritual. So the source is totally different. That's why they say, really speaking, if you want to be happy, you just have to look inside. A lot of the Vedanta sutras, they say, if you just look inside, you'll be happy. But everybody is looking for pleasure outside. And you can't blame them because they are totally convinced that this is me. And if this is me, then I got senses. And if I got senses, I need sense objects for my pleasure. So then they start for the sense pleasure object, the object. So you can't blame them. It's because of the ignorance. Okay, so Prabhupada is saying the first verse is telling us what is true vidya. Prabhupada says there are 4 classes of men. First, lazy intelligence. Second, busy intelligent. Then lazy foolish. And the fourth, active foolish. Okay, so lazy intelligent, first class person. Busy intelligent. So it's better to be lazy intelligent than busy intelligent. I remember when I was temple president in Hillbrow, so his own Giraj March was coming and was arranging a program. So I was busy running around, setting up, arranging different things, making sure things are okay. And because of lack of manpower, trying to do everything. And Ma just came a few minutes a little earlier. And we were running around trying to set up everything. So we took him at the back of the stage or the back of the hall. So I said, Marge, just busy doing things, just setting up everything. So he told me, it's better to engage 6 S's than to do the work of 6 S's. Right? So he used S's, donkeys, as an example. Yeah. So as the Prabhupada said, it's better to engage 6 devotees, so to speak, than to work like 6 devotees. Right? Yeah. So it's like that. Because management means delegation. Not that you do everything. So like here, lazy intelligent means engage others. It seems you are lazy, but that's intelligent because you're engaging others. Okay, highest form. The other one is busy intelligent. That was I was trying to be busy intelligent. Okay, and you don't get things done effectively and efficiently. Then the other one is lazy foolish. So on the 2 positive side, which one's best? Lazy intelligent. On the 2 negative side, lazy foolish and active foolish, which one's better? Lazy foolish. Yeah, it's better to be lazy foolish than to be active foolish. Okay? And that's what Prabhupada is saying, that if you intelligent, right, if you knowledgeable in ignorance, it's worse than if you are ignorant. Yes. So 2 people went to learn piano lesson to the same teacher. And then the teacher asked, asked the first person, you know how to learn piano? Yes, yes, yes. I've been playing. Okay, for you, $1,000. You know how to play piano? Nope, no, nothing about piano. For you, $500. The ones that charge me more are unfair. I know already how to play piano. I know the chords. I know things. You charge me less. No. I have to first unteach you all your bad habits, all the things you know that's wrong. Then teach you what's right. Okay, so people who are very intelligent, who are very sharp, who got brains, who got knowledge, but they got the wrong knowledge, they are more dangerous than people who are just in the street, don't have knowledge, simple people. Yeah. So that's the point about active foolishness. Very dangerous. Like the 2 pictures there. Which one's more dangerous? The second one. Right? They're both in the same situation. They both got a sword, they're both cutting, they're both going to get hurt, but which one's more dangerous? The second one. Why? Because he's taking others down with him. And not only is he taking the others, but the others are very special to him. They're depending on him for proper guidance. See? So they are his dependents, they're not just other people. And if you take your dependence in the wrong direction with you, you go lower to hell than if you're just ignorant and you go on your own. So at the present moment, they are very active, but they are all foolish. Therefore, the world is in danger. Active foolishness. Foolish is, if he stops, it does not work. It is better. But as soon as he becomes active, it becomes more dangerous.
I think the story in Mahabharata where Ishir Maharaj was asked to judge the culprits this time. And I think Duryodhana was also asked to judge them. Brahmana. So there was a different categories of prisoners.
Brahmana and Sudra, I think there were two categories. The Brahmana got punished more because because they're supposed to be educated. And they should know what to do. Okay, so that's the first point in terms of knowledge, and so-called knowledge or misdirected knowledge is even more dangerous. So we have knowledge, we have ignorance, and then we have misdirected knowledge. You know, sometimes they say little knowledge is dangerous. It's like that. That's the aspect. So old wine in new bottle. Of the different classes of men, karmis, gyanis, yogis, the karmis are those who are engaged in activities of sense gratification. In the modern civilization, 99.9% of the people are engaged in activities of sense gratification under the flags of industrialism, economic development, altruism, political activism, and so on. All these activities are more or less based on satisfaction of the senses, to the exclusion of the kind of God consciousness described in the first mantra. So Prabhupada is making the point here that the different classes of men, everyone is simply engaged in one thing. Their focus, their ultimate goal is sense gratification. And all the other types of isms that are there, it's just different forms, different presentations, different ways for exactly the same thing. The bottom line is sense gratification. And this, in essence, is the biggest obstacle for spiritual life.
Motivational speakers give the example of cup of life, and coconut water in all the different, same thing, old wine in new bottles.
Yeah, you have, if you have let's say if you have coconut water from a steel cup, coconut water from a plastic cup, coconut water from a gold cup, or coconut water from a glass cup, it all tastes the same. External cup is different, but the substance is the same. So in the material world, everything that exists is just different shapes and forms of the same underlying taste of sense gratification. Everyone is interested in that. That's how people measure. If people want to select anything in life, it's based on how much satisfaction can I get, and then I make a decision. Whether they can pay for it or not is a different story. They may not have money, but they want it. So sense gratification is our only obstacle. The rose looks very nice, but it comes with thorns. And in the material world, even though there's duality of happiness and distress, in fact, there is only one thing: distress. Because distress is distressful, and happiness will always lead to distress. Give me one reason why happiness of any form or shape will always lead to distress. It's temporary. Yeah, it's temporary. We don't want relationships to be broken, but guess what? It's temporary. Sooner or later, we're going to experience that misery. You buy a child a new toy, right? So now the child gets a new teddy bear. The child is so happy. It's only a question of time. So really, if you look at it, right, the parents, they want to make the child happy. So they bought the child a teddy bear. Truly speaking, what did they buy the child? Distress. Yeah, so the child, the parents thinking, okay, now I'm educated, I'm very intelligent, I got the best wishes for my child, but really you're buying the child misery, because it's only a question of time. Now, when we understand that, like the thorns are always going to be there, this material world is stem dukale mashashwatam. It's a place, alayam, it's a house of dukkha, and it's temporary, it's full of suffering. What's the conclusion generally that if you keep hearing that? Let's say in relation to the mother buying a child a teddy bear, or the father buying the child a teddy bear. No, what's generally the conclusion? So nothing will make the child happy. If nothing makes the child happy, what should I do? Exactly, don't buy. Yeah, don't buy because it's going to make the child unhappy. That's generally the conclusion everybody comes to.
No, but buy it.
It's is it the right conclusion or the wrong conclusion?
According to verses 9, 10, and 11, buy it, but educate the child at the same time.
Yes. So that's how, because people take parts of the Vedas, and the Vedas pointing like this verse and Prabhupada is making the point, sense gratification, it's miserable. Therefore, okay, then don't do anything, don't have any relationships. Okay, negate everything, like the Mayavadis, right? Or the Buddhists, nirvana, because that's Buddha's philosophy. Lord Buddha's philosophy is very simple. Any exchange, any interaction with relationships, with people, with the material world is going to bring misery. So if you don't want misery, negate everything. That's nirvana. The only problem with it doesn't exist. There is no place like that. Okay? They think it exists, but it doesn't exist. So, yes, we have to understand the danger of sense gratification. At the same time, we have to learn to what level that sense gratification is allowed, so that we can progress. Okay, that will come up. There was a cleaner. So this cleaner, she would clean every day this mansion of a wealthy owner, and every day she would clean very nicely. She would come into the bedroom and clean. And one day, for some reason, she was curious. She was thinking, this bed is high-class bed, I wonder how it feels like to lie on the bed, It's like they talk. I saw on a video, TV, posturepedic and all these things, night sleep. And she was curious. So she thought, let me just try it out. So she tried sitting on the bed, nice and comfy, is cushioned, better than my one, like really. And then, lie down, and all of a sudden she was out for the count. She fell off to sleep. And in the evening, whole and behold, the owner comes home. And he comes home and he calls for the cleaner, and the cleaner is not around, and they're wondering, oh, where's the cleaner? Okay, not around. And he comes into the room and he sees the cleaner on his bed. The famous, who's sleeping on my bed, right? So he was completely upset. How can she sleep on my bed? Came to the bed, grabbed her, woke up. She got a shock. Oh, boss, oh, sorry, boss. Oh, came to reality, and he was so upset that she slept on his bed. He took out the belt and started to give her, started to hit her with the belt. How dare you sleep on my bed? And he's beating her. And she's sorry, boss, sorry. And he's beating her, and then she starts to laugh uncontrollably. And he's beating, and she's laughing, and then he stops and says, "Why are you laughing?" Says, "Boss, I was just thinking. I just slept for a few hours on this bed, and I got such a lashing. And I was thinking, you sleeping every day on this bed, I wonder what you're going to get." Right? So, anything in this material world, if we enjoy, we're going to get a reaction. Why?
India is knowing who's the proprietor.
Because first mantra made it very clear. Everything belongs to Krishna. Like the bed belongs to the owner. And that's why the owner was upset. Why are you enjoying my property? Even though that's the illusion, but why are you enjoying my property? The property is meant to be used for giving pleasure to the owner. And everything belongs to Krishna. So everything and everyone belongs to Krishna. Therefore, truly speaking, we have to act in such a way that it gives pleasure to Krishna. Profitless pursuit of sense gratification. In the language of Bhagavad Gita 7:15, people who are engaging gross sense gratification are mudas, asses. The ass is a symbol of stupidity. Those who simply engage in profitless pursuit of sense gratification are worshipping avidya, according to Sri Isopanisad. And those who play the role of helping this sort of civilization in the name of educational advancement are actually doing more harm than those who are on the platform of gross sense gratification. So those who are engage in sense gratification, well, they're going to get punished. Those who are supposed to be educated, who are acting as educated, and who are presenting themselves as educated and misleading people, they're going lower down. And the example of that, two examples are given of that type of misleading. The advancement of learning by godless people is as dangerous as a valuable jewel on the hood of a cobra. A cobra decorated with valuable jewels is more dangerous than one not decorated. So if somebody is very intelligent, and you'll see, like a school teacher is meant to be very educated. And the students, they accept the teacher to know, to be educated and to follow. But if the teacher is misdirecting, that's more dangerous than somebody who's not educated at all. So a jeweled cobra is more dangerous because that jewel is attracting people to get that jewel. And then the cobra will bite. In Hari Bhakti Sudaya, the advancement of education by godless people is compared to decoration on a dead body. In India, as in many other countries, some people follow the custom of leading a procession with a decorated dead body for the pleasure of the lamenting relatives. So decorating a dead body, or like the example was given of this person who was coming to a new neighborhood. So he bought his new house and started painting his new house, and the neighbor came to him and said, "Oh, welcome to our neighborhood. When are you moving in?" And he said, "Oh, I'll be moving in end of the week, and I'll be setting a light to the house." The man said, "Huh? What? Yeah, I'm moving in end of the week and I'll light the house." That's foolish. So yes, that is foolish. Then he'll say, "Why are you painting it then? Right? Why are you decorating? If that's what you're going to do, why are you decorating it? Why are you painting it?" But that's exactly what we're doing. This body is going to be burnt. And we're decorating it, we're doing so nice things, we're looking after it so nice, but you're going to put it into the furnace. So we know different than that. Modern godless education. So 3 types of ignorance or levels. First is to be ignorant is bad. To be in ignorance and to claim to be knowledge is worse. And to be in ignorant and to claim to be knowledge and condemn real knowledge as ignorance is worse. So someone will say, I don't know anything, I'm really stupid. Okay, so he's ignorant. He's bad. But worse off is someone who is ignorant and no, I know everything, but they have no clue what they're doing. And worse off is someone who's ignorant And he's claiming, no, I know what. But when somebody's giving the right answer, he said, no, don't listen to that guy. He knows nothing. That's even worse. And you'll find this in all spheres of life. It's like sometimes at work. Right? Somebody who really knows their stuff, they do the job and they don't get the credit. Somebody who has absolutely no idea of what happened, they'll take the credit. Like, oh, no, I know everything. But they have no clue what the person did. So how people distort true knowledge, and they'll say, for example, science flies you to the moon, but religion into the skyscraper. So therefore, religion is very bad. See, and going to the moon is very good. So see how, because of ignorance, because of not understanding what true religion is, they associate, they come to a conclusion, and that conclusion can be very disastrous. So now Prabhupada gives us what real education is again. Okay, so we heard in the first time what Prabhupada told us, real education. Now Prabhupada is giving us again what real education is. In the same way, modern civilization is a patchwork of activities meant to cover the perpetual miseries of material existence. When will things stop becoming miserable? It ain't going to stop. Unfortunately. The only way it's going to stop is, so consider, right, there you are, and there's the miseries in a place which is perpetually miserable. Right? So you have two solutions. Yeah, it's either the place disappear or you disappear. It's only two solutions. Now, if the place disappear, you need to be somewhere. You can't just not exist anywhere. So rather you disappear to the right place and misery will automatically cease. Whereas in the material world, like you find the motivational speakers, they motivate you with ignorance, thinking you can achieve success on any level. You just have to follow successful footprints. Little do they realize that the successful footprints are going to end up in ignorance. Blind leading the blind. Yeah. And you will see, nowhere did Prabhupada say that if you follow successful people in the material world, you'll achieve success. Prabhupada and the Bhagavatam says, if you follow the Mahajans, you will achieve success. And the Mahajans who are the ones who know mantra, the invocation. They live by the invocation. They know the truth. Okay? So all such activities are aimed towards sense gratification. But above sense is the mind, and above the mind is intelligence, and above the intelligence is the soul. Thus, the aim of real education should be self-realization. Realization of the spiritual values of the soul. Any education which does not lead to such realization must be considered avidya, missions. No matter how brilliant it's packaged, right? I normally give the example. If somebody loves chocolates, okay, their favorite chocolate is Kit Kat or Tex or I don't know, whatever chocolate they get, right? So whatever chocolate they got. So now in the chocolate, you buy the chocolate, you're busy unwrapping the chocolate, and then you bite into the chocolate, but you just bit into a whole cockroach. Why is anybody else drinking water? Right? So imagine you just bit into the whole cockroach. What you going to do? Are you going to be happy? No, it's going to be disgusting, right? No matter how externally the chocolate, very nice wrapping paper, and they even gave you a ribbon and they gave you two, and both of them have cockroaches in it. See, the external would not make a difference. The fact that there's cockroach in it ain't going to be blissful. Material sense gratification is like that. It's got that aftertaste of material pleasure. Therefore, it's really not meant for us. And any form of it, it's avidya, it's ignorance. Like you can motivate, right? So then you put into the cockroach. Now what you're going to do? Are you going to chew it and swallow it? No, you're going to spit it out, right? But now you phone the company, right? Hello, can I speak to the manager? That's how you're going to speak? No, you're going to be upset, right? You're really going to be fused. And then they tell you, no, it's okay. I mean, it's not a problem. They're going to tell you it's not a problem. Do you think it's going to satisfy you? No, it's a problem. Right? No matter what they say, how sweet they say, the bottom line is it was disgusting. Full stop. So any form of packaging in the material world, if it does not focus on self-realization, it's avidya. It's ignorance. And this mantra already said, if you're ignorant, you're going to the darkest region of hell. Okay? Any form of ignorance, you're going down. So you could be very intelligent, very brilliant, package everything nicely, so-called, if it's so-called ignorance, it's worse, but even ignorance on its own, it's dangerous. And how do we gauge, or what's the way we decide? There is only one decision criteria, as Prabhupada is making here. It's not focused on self-realization. If it's not focused on self-realization and it's on any other motive, any other agenda, any other platform, it's ignorance. And to culture such nations means to go down into the darkest region. Right, false educators. According to Bhagavad Gita 2:42 and 7:15, mistaken mundane educators are known as Veda Vada Rata and Maya Aprata Jnana. So here Prabhupada is now giving us two types of people. The first few verses were talking about those who are ignorant. That's bad enough. Now here, two types of people who take knowledge, misconstrue it, misinterpret it, or use it for their selfish agenda and present it to the masses. They may also be atheistic demons, the lowest men. Those who are Veda Vadarata pose themselves as very learned in Vedic literature, but unfortunately they are completely diverted. They are completely diverted from the purpose of the Vedas. In the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, it is said that the purpose of the Vedas is to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But these Veda Vadarata men are not at all interested in Supreme Personality of Godhead. On the contrary, they are fascinated by such fruitive results as the attainment of heaven. So many in India, there are many priests like that who know the Vedas, they know the Karma Kanda section, they know the rituals, but their goal is go to heaven. They encourage people to go to heaven, okay, or get pleasure. And you'll see, even in other traditions, like even in Islam tradition, their focus is to go to paradise, go to heaven, where you can enjoy more sense gratification. So anyone who uses the Vedas for sense gratification, they are in this category. Now Prabhupada gives us the goal of life again. As stated in Mantra 1, we should know that the personality of Godhead is the proprietor of everything, and that we must be satisfied with our allotted portions of the life, of the necessities of life. So you'll see Prabhupada is emphasizing 3 times already the same point, making it very clear. So we should have absolutely no doubt of what the goal is, what the truth is. So Krishna owns everything, but he's allocated what we need for our maintenance. The purpose of all Vedic literatures is to awaken this God consciousness in the forgetful living being. And the same purpose is presented in various ways in the different scriptures of the world for the understanding of a foolish mankind. Thus, the ultimate purpose of all religion is to bring one back to Godhead. So that's the goal, to go back home, to revive our relation with Krishna, to serve the Supreme Lord, to give Him pleasure. That's the essence, that's the goal. Misguided intelligence. But the Veda Vadarata people, instead of realizing that the purpose of the Vedas is to revive the forgetful soul's lost relationship with the personality of God, take it for granted that such side issues as the attainment of heavenly pleasures for sense gratification, the lust for which causes their material bondage, is the first place, at the ultimate end of the Vedas. Such people misguide others by misinterpreting the Vedic literatures. Sometimes they even condemn the Puranas, which are authentic Vedic explanations for laymen. The Veda Vadaratas give their own explanation of the Vedas, neglecting the authority of the great teachers, Acharyas. Now, in relation to spiritual life, even in Krishna consciousness, if we take things from Prabhupada's books to motivate our own sense gratification or encourage others' sense gratification, and that falls in the same category. Okay? And it's dangerous. More dangerous than if you were ignorant. That's why those who are in knowledge, as Prabhupada is saying here, should not neglect what the great Acharyas have said. And that's why the best thing to do, Prabhupada said, the best preacher, the best helper is one who simply, like the postman, takes the message and just delivers the message without tainting, without misinterpreting. He just delivers. He's a postman. That's the safest. Okay? As soon as you start to interpret or misinterpret or motivate or try to squeeze out a meaning that's not there, that becomes dangerous.
So, in that light, let's say one is speaking to a group of non-devotees on anger management, and one uses the verses of Bhagavad Gita explaining about anger, right? It's wrong, right? Unless you give them the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita. Is that right?
No. So let's take anger.
Yeah.
So I'm speaking to the group of new people,
Yeah.
and I'm telling the dangers of anger. And then I'll say in the ancient scriptures called the Bhagavad Gita, which is the song of God. In there, God talks about anger. And God says that lust, anger, and greed are three gateways to hell. Therefore, anger is detrimental and very dangerous. We don't want that gateway because it takes us to hell. That's not misinterpreting. Yeah, misinterpreting is like Prabhupada is talking about 4 regular principles, and because of the age of Kali Yuga in our present world, it becomes very difficult. So therefore, we should only encourage 3 regular principles. So now you're taking the regular aspects of regular principles, and you're giving your own interpretation to it. Okay, you're deviating from what the Acharya has given. It's your own understanding, your own interpretation to motivate your sense gratification, and then obviously, misery loves company. So then you get other people motivated. So that's dangerous. Yeah. Or, for example, let's say gay marriages. Okay. So, is gay marriage sanctioned? So now you can take different things from the Vedas and put it together and say yes. Right? So different things like that. You start motivating things. Whereas, Prabhupada would say, if somebody had to ask him what are gay marriages, forget about gay marriage. Whether you live, with a family or without a family, with a partner or without a partner, with the same partner or without the same partner. The point is, we all meant to surrender to Krishna and give up sense gratification. We all diseased. If I'm attached to a woman, say if a male is attached to a woman, if a man is attached to a woman, that is diseased. If a woman is attached to a man, that's disease. If a man is attached to a man, he's more diseased. If a woman is attached to a woman, that's more disease. A woman becomes attached to an animal, more diseased. It's all different degrees of diseases.
Yeah. It's such an important point. I'm not logged in, but on Facebook, there's a youth group. There are many youth groups. So one youth group leader had put something up. I forget the subject matter, but he put a quotation up. And then I went to go see the quotation in the database, and the database compilers said that was it's incorrect to put this quotation. Oh, it was Ganesh prayers. Yes, it was about Ganesh prayers. So the person who's accepted as the leader of that group of youth says something about how Ganesh should be worshipped. But in the database of where that quote was coming, it's clearly stated, just like in the case of Ganesh Puja, our Acharya did not advocate it. But sometimes people may take this quotation and
so they can
the exact thing
that they say, so you take part of it, you present part, but you don't give the whole picture, right? That's why the context is very important. And again, like previously we mentioned, whether if we want to know what's right or wrong, we just have to understand what did acharyas establish. Because they the acharyas, that's why they called acharyas. They understood, they realized, therefore we follow them. And even if we don't understand, even though we may be attached or we may have the same disease, right? Just like I may be attached to chocolates. So now I know, okay, I shouldn't be eating chocolates. It's got cockroaches. But what do? Is like I like the chocolates. So I shouldn't now find a quote from scripture to put it together to motivate my sense gratification. I should be humble enough to understand, what, Prabhu, I love chocolates with cockroaches. What to do? See, just like in France, a delicacy is cockroach sandwich. And not dead ones, live ones. They move and you bite them. So what type of consciousness must you have for you to be able to accept that type of delicacy? It has to be not high. Okay. So like that, all levels of consciousness in the material world, whether you want to say it's higher than that or lower than that, if it's centered around sense gratification, it's unwanted.
The beauty is that we have a founder acharya and we have a blueprint. Like for example, people will say Krishna played football with the colored boys.
Yes, so why can't we play?
So why can't we play?
Correct.
But then Acharya, in his notice to the devotees, he says that there are no frivolous sports.
Yeah, so it's not that, so Krishna played many things, Krishna did many things, but that doesn't mean we can choose what we want to do for spiritual life. That's why Sri Rupa Goswami has given very clear guidelines. So yes, you can play football. Obviously, children can play, different story, but we're talking about adults. So adults, they can play if it's one of the 64 angas. So just check if it's one of the 64 angas, then it's okay. Otherwise, if it's not one of the 64 angas, then yes, we should understand it's not spiritual. False leaders. They also tend to raise some unscrupulous persons from among themselves and present him as a leader exponent of the Vedic knowledge. Such Veda Vadaratas are specially condemned in this mantra by the very appropriate Sanskrit words Vidya Yam Rata. Vidya Yam refers to the study of the Vedas because the Vedas are the origin of all knowledge, Vidya. And Rata means those engaged. Vidya Rata, Vidya Yam Rata, thus means those engaged in the study of the Vedas. The Vedas are extraordinary. The so-called students of the Vedas are condemned herein because they are ignorant of the actual purpose of the Vedas on account of their disobeying the acharyas. Such Vedaratas search out the meaning in every word of the Vedas to suit their own purposes. They do not know that the Vedic literatures is a collection of external books that can be understood only through the chain of disciplic succession. So I'll make it very clear that the disciplic succession has to authorize what we're doing. Okay, it's not an individual decision. It's not your own understanding. And if it's deviating from the truth, from the actual essence of the Vedas, it's obviously detrimental. So the process of understanding the Vedic literatures, one must approach a bona fide spiritual master in order to understand the transcendental message of the Vedas. That is the direction of the Mukunda Upanishad. These Vedavarata people, however, have their own acharyas who are not in the chain of transcendental succession. Thus, they progress into the darkest region of ignorance by misinterpreting the Vedic literatures. They fall even further into ignorance than those who have no knowledge of the Vedas at all. So Prabhupada gave the example of one famous Mayavadi and Vedavadarata in India, that he interpreted Krishna is black, and black means you cannot understand. Therefore, God is unknown. Black, Krishna is black. Black means unknown. Black means in the darkness. You can never know anything in the dark. Therefore, you can never know the truth of Krishna, of God. He's unknowable. He's unknown. Full stop. So that's the interpretation. See? Yeah. So they must keep quiet. Let us speak. Prabhupada said, let us speak. We know about Krishna. So Krishna is telling us in Bhagavad Gita about himself. God is telling us about himself. Who are you to tell us that God cannot be known? But this is how they interpret. I remember I was in India, we were doing Vaishnav etiquette in Mayapur. So the devotees there, they were saying that the people here, they say tea is authorized in Bhagavad Gita. Because in the 10th chapter, 9th chapter, where Krishna says, I am of the fishes, I am the shark, right? So in all those verses where Krishna is using the word I am, the word is chaham, chaham, chaham. So it's a chaham. So Krishna is saying, I am tea, chaham, I am tea. Because in Hindi, cha means tea, or Gujarati, cha, tea. So chaham, chaham, chaham. Krishna says, I'm tea, I'm tea. So see, tea is authorized. Then they showed me another verse where it's talking about Matsya avatar and Matsya incarnation, and they changed, they found a verse appropriate where it says fish is authorized. Krishna's incarnation, etc., and you can have. So that's all misinterpreting. And that's very, very dangerous. Krishna is free of Maha Maya. So now Prabhupada is giving a counter argument, especially to the Mayaprita Jnana. The Mayaprita Jnanas, class of men, are self-made gods. Such men think that they themselves are God and that there is no need of worshipping any other God. So the Vedavaratas, they misconstrue, misinterpret knowledge, Vedic knowledge. The Mayaprita Jnanas, they claim to be God. They will agree to worship an ordinary man if he happens to be very rich. But they will never worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So you're probably using such a simple thing. If you're God, you should be the richest. Why are you worshiping a rich man? Such men, unable to recognize their own foolishness, never consider how easy that God can be entrapped by Maya his own illusory energy. So if you have a bona fide note and a counterfeit note, if you don't know how to recognize the counterfeit note, you'll be fooled. You look at both and you think this is normal. Right? But the banks, they know because they're educated. Right? They'll be able to recognize and say, oh, sorry. And sometimes they got machines to be able to highlight imprints, marks, to notify you that this is. So you'll see there are different spots, different marks that you can understand a counterfeit from a fake note. So you can also understand counterfeit God from a bona fide God. And Prabhupada throughout his books gives us so many. Even last week we heard, from last week's verse, if somebody says, I'm God, what are some ways to disprove? Yeah, put them in a contaminated place and see if they survive. Right? Another way? If they got veins, they got blood, right? Cut them and see if they survive. If they grow old, if their body can, okay, they'll say, okay, no problem. Like the one lady asked Prabhupada, so Swamiji, are you saying that there's only one path? And Prabhupada said, yes, there's only one way to eat, put in your mouth. So there's the only way, how else you want to eat? Okay, if you think there's many parts, then put the food into your ear. Right? Eat the burger with your ear and see what happens. So if you God, then guess what? We're going to feed you through your nose or through your ears. And let's see if you survive. And if you survive, you God. Right? Or at least there's a possibility you God. We can try other options, but at least there's a possibility. So, and see if you can, So there's so many ways. Prabhupada given us so many angles. Last week we also read, Krishna didn't do weightlifting. Right? So let's see if you can pick up anything. Pick up a table with your pinky finger and see if you can manage that. So people who are foolish just accept, man-made gods. And the man-made gods, they take advantage of those who are foolish. It's like when Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur approached Vibhikishan, who was claiming to be Vishnu. Then he said, I know I'm not Vishnu, but it's nice when people worship you as God. It just feels nice. So that's why people like that. It's when people glorify, it's a natural conditioned tendency. Even, as conditioned devotees, aspiring devotees, we have that. We do some service and we don't get appreciation. We get upset, right? We don't become more encouraged. So we want the motivation. We want the encouragement. We distributed so many books and they missed my name out. Right? Imagine they make a mistake, right? You distributed the largest amount of books and they calculated wrong, and later they found out, sorry, you get upset because you want that. See, in the conditioned stage. So you can imagine when people who have mystic powers, they thrive on that. So the conclusion. If God were ever entrapped by Maya, Maya would be more powerful than God. Such men say that God is all-powerful, but they do not consider that if he is all-powerful, there is no possibility of his being overpowered by Maya. These self-made gods cannot answer all these questions very clearly. They are simply satisfied to have become God themselves. So this verse, those andam tama pravishyanti ye vidyam upasate tato bhuya ivatetamo yayu vidyayamrita. Those who engage in the culture of Nishan activities shall enter the darkest region of ignorance. So if you are ignorant, if you don't have spiritual knowledge, right, you're going to fall, you're going to slip, you're going to go down. If you're ignorant, you're going down. Worse still are those who engage in the culture of so-called knowledge. If you're presenting yourself like you're educated, and because you're misleading the masses, you're going to go lower than them. Like, all the blind leading the blind, and they all fall on the first blind person. Because the first person blind is going to fall, and then everybody falls on him. So he's going to be worse off than the person who's right on top. So it's like that. And someone who's posing himself as spiritual, when he misleads, it's more dangerous. Consider in South Africa, somebody knocks on your door. Would you just open? No, you're going to inquire who's there, right? In some cases, you're going to look through the keyhole. Now, if you look through a keyhole and you see some very shady looking character, what you can do? You're not at home, right? You're not going to open. Because, looks like a thief. If he looks like a thief, maybe a thief, especially in South Africa, don't open. So you're already protecting yourself. Now, somebody knocks on the door, and you look through the keyhole. Look like shaven head, saffron robes. Looks like a Hare Krishna. What you can do? You're going to open the door. Now, if the thief had to wear Hare Krishna clothes, it's very bad off, right? Because what did you do now? You just allowed the thief to come in with open arms. You just welcome, please come. So that's why somebody who's posing themselves as spiritual, as saintly, they're more dangerous. Because people welcome you. People, ask, they trust you. Yeah, they put their faith in you. They want you to guide them. And if you come in and you cause harm, you misdirect them. Therefore, this verse is saying you are worse off and you will go lower than those who are ignorant. Okay, so you cannot escape. Yes, you may cause the harm and you may get away from material laws, but from the laws of Krishna, you will not get away. I think in the Prabhupada gives an example also in the Chaitanya Charitamrita of this snake comes out of this cave, and there's ants all over the snake, biting the snake. Black ants, brown ants, brown ants, okay, bite you. So then the question is, why is the ants causing this harm to the snake, poor snake? And no, it's not poor snake. The truth is that those ants are actually disciples in the past life of this guru who now became a snake. And because the guru was taking advantage of his disciples for sense gratification, now the disciples have come back as ants to bite him, give him the reaction. Okay, so very dangerous. That is why, as far as possible, we should not mislead people in spiritual life. We should give them the truth as the truth is meant to be given. Sometimes the truth is not palatable, too bad, it needs to be given, and they need to understand this is the truth. If you start sugarcoating it, sugarcoating is not bad, but if you start misinterpreting it, or diluting it, or motivating something that's not right, and that falls in this category, and it's very, very dangerous. Now, that said, we also have to be very careful to judge. Okay, this verse we should apply to ourselves strictly and not worry about what happens elsewhere. So, for example, and especially if you don't know what Krishna's plan is, if you look at many of Krishna's pastimes, Krishna was banished. Lord Ramachandra was banished to the forest. Could he have stopped being, could he have, you know, fought KK? Yeah, right? But he didn't. Did Krishna know that Abhimanyu is going to be killed ruthlessly on the battlefield? And that was his own disciple. So he knew. Krishna knew exactly what's going to happen to Abhimanyu. And he allowed it. So if anyone is a culprit, it's Krishna first. Because he allowed it. See? But there's a reason for him to allow that. So like that, we have to be very careful because we don't know what's Krishna's plan. We want to know the truth, we want to live by the truth, and we want to give the truth. How other people deal with it, let Krishna deal with them. Let's understand in the invocation. Because who's complete and perfect? Krishna, not you. Right? So you can't come up with a complete and perfect solution and try to be Krishna to make everything perfect and complete. No. Let Krishna do that job. Yes, you can pray and you can ask Krishna to do that. But your goal is to totally surrender to Krishna and follow the truth, free from sense gratification, which is the root cause of all our bondage. The greater we can let go of sense gratification, the more advancement we will make. Now, in spiritual life, Prabhupada did authorize sense gratification for devotees, eating nice prasad offered to Krishna, kirtan, association. So that devotional sense gratification is there. Okay? As soon as you take it beyond, yes, not only will you get cholesterol, but you'll also get heart trouble. Anarthas will start appear in your heart. Like Prabhupada, we covered in Nectar of Instruction, Prabhupada said, do not eat, overeat, do not eat lavishly, do not over endeavor. There are different obstacles that are there. But we have to understand that if I want to be happy, I have to be willing to sacrifice, to give up temporary pleasures to get true happiness that is actually rightfully there for me. I can't have both. Unfortunately, there is no environment for both. It's either one. The fish can either be in water or in land. If it's going to be on land, it's going to suffer. If it's going to be in water, it's going to be happy. So we have to be convinced of that. And here Prabhupada 3 times throughout the purport is making the point that follow the Ishavasya principle and that will make one happy. And in terms of ignorance, it's bad if you misinterpret, misconstrue in the name of knowledge, that's worse. Any questions or comments on what we covered? Yes.
Just thinking, you know what is right, then to go and do wrong, it's even worse.
Correct. 100%.
So sometimes get the argument that I'd rather not know because then at least if I do.
True. So that's one way to stay ignorant. I give the example of my elder brother. So when I was at home, I read the SSR and became a devotee, and then I gave the Science of Civilization to my elder brother. He said, no, I don't want to read that because I know if I read that, it's going to impact my consciousness. I better not read that. So he knew that if I read this book, it's going to I'm going to get the truth, and the truth is going to haunt me, right? So better be ignorant. That way, I can stay foolish and I can stay ignorant, and I won't know if I'm doing wrong. But you already know you're doing wrong. That's why you don't want to get in that direction. Yeah, you're happy with your ignorance. Yeah. So that definitely is true. And yes, if you know the truth and you deviate, you get a greater reaction. Like, and Prabhupada gave the example, like the judge. If a thief steals or kills someone, he's going to get prisoned. If the judge steals, he may get hanged because he knows the law. Yeah. So as devotees, if we do the wrong thing, we will get a greater reaction than somebody who's totally ignorant. Because we know what's right, and we're going against it. That's why you will find somebody who's ignorant, who comes to spiritual life, they make far more rapid advancement than someone who's who's an aspiring devotee, been many years in a movement, but not following, not following properly because he knows and he doesn't want to strictly follow. So therefore, he doesn't get he doesn't make tangible advancement because of that. Yeah. So that's true. Any other questions? And this is one of the few places where the verse, if you see in the verse, you just have to read the Sanskrit, right? Andam tama pravishyanti, ye vidya avidyam upasate. Those who are in avidya, they go to the darkest region. Then worse, tato buya ivate tamo. Worse are still those yayu vidyayam rata, engaged in vidyayam, knowledge. So if you just read the verse, this verse is, in terms of Sanskrit, is telling you that ignorance is bad and knowledge is worse. No. The verse is telling you knowledge is bad. But Prabhupada, as the Acharya, in his English, is making very clear that it's so-called knowledge. That's why the Acharya, the disciplic succession, is important to guide us. If we just had to take the verse as it is, right, we would definitely misinterpret that. And you will see, I don't know, there may be Sri Isopanishads by people who are not in disciplic succession. You take their translation, you'll see there'll be a totally different concocted translation. Because they weren't able to hold on, ignorance is bad, knowledge is bad, worse. Huh? Doesn't make sense. See? And it's true, it doesn't make sense because it's knowledge that's misused, knowledge that's misinterpreted. It's more dangerous. Like if you know an enemy, it's more safer than someone who you think is a friend and he's a matsyo. He's within, he's inside. That's even worse. Because now he can do more destruction with you being as your friend. In the meantime, he's your enemy. Because you don't know he's your enemy. Where someone who's an enemy, you know he's an enemy. You keep him a distant. It's the same thing here. So-called knowledge, that's very, very dangerous. Yeah. All right, so mantra 10, we're going to cover about knowledge and ignorance from a different perspective.
Looking at this and might be judging sort of for now. Like when I went to Durban last weekend, and my father-in-law was doing a lot of book distribution, and he managed to get some copies of the original SSR and Sri Isopanisad and Prophet Ibn Bhagavad. So then you come back to the question now, we ourselves knowing have this knowledge, but we're changing Sri Prabhupada's books. Why are we not doing anything about it? It doesn't seem like, or should I say, that anything's happening about it. It's just allowed to go on.
I get a message that really has been going on for like ages. So some devotees are now going to arrange a meeting with the people that have edited the books, their team, the editing team, and because they have websites to say justify all the changes, etc. And the other devotees are not accepting that. So now they're going to have a meeting soon, one of these days, and they want clarification.
Yeah.
Because to get an original copy of the book, is so difficult.
So certain editings can be justified. Other aspects of editing cannot be justified. Okay? So, like for example, I looked at one. I think it was in the 13th chapter or 10th chapter, 13th chapter, 13th chapter. And there's one verse where Lord Krishna is talking about Kshetra and Kshetragna. So there, if you look at the originals, Prabhupada in a lecture, in a conversation, accepted the translation. They read the translation, they read the Sanskrit. Prabhupada gave a whole talk, and in the talk he used the same translation. But in the new versions, it's totally different. Okay, and I tried to look at that on the website, but I only could find, I think, till they only had the changes up to a certain chapter. 13th chapter wasn't there. Okay? So yes, now when people normally ask me about this point, is the book changes, authorized, and is it good? And so yes, we know, Prabhupada made it very clear in many instances, don't change what he has given, and people can give so many spiritual aspects. So my view is like this. So if somebody reads Prabhupada's books, okay, whether it's the change or not change, if they read Prabhupada's books, will they come to the conclusion they're not the body? Right. Will they come to the conclusion Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead? Will they come to the conclusion they must chant Hare Krishna? Will they come to the conclusion they must engage in devotional service? That's good enough for them to progress. So they will still make advancement, no doubt. Yeah, they will still make advancement, right? So in one sense, yes, they shouldn't or they should, but we also can become distracted by what is your objective, what is your goal in life. See, so we have to be very careful of that also. Yeah, not that we shouldn't fight or we should fight, but we should be very careful of that. Yeah. Yeah, we can get distracted, and that becomes an obstacle. And I give another example. So, today I was speaking to a colleague of mine, and I was saying, in many references throughout Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada says, and scripture says, that if you take to spiritual life, what are you doing in relation to Maya? You're declaring war. Now, is that figurative?
No, it's real.
That's real. If you take spiritual life, your battle is going to be, Maya is not going to say, oh, no, thank you. No. She's going to fight you, right? She's going to test you. She's going to bring obstacles. We got so many examples like that, right? So she's going to come and she's going to force you to give up spiritual life. You just a very simple, innocent practitioner of spiritual life. And all you want to do is start chanting Hare Krishna. Nothing, nothing major, right? You just want to start chanting Hare Krishna, right? That's all. Okay, one round. You think she's going to leave you? No. Consider an acharya on the level of Prabhupada leaving India, Vrindavan, with a trunk of Srimad Bhagavatams, with the goal of building 108 temples across the globe. What do you think Kali is going to do? Big time. Okay. And that's why you find right from the early days, the agent of Kali already joined Prabhupada right from day one. And Kali's agent even became initiated when Srila Prabhupada was present by Srila Prabhupada, trying to break this, firstly trying to break the society, trying to take over the society, trying to destroy Srila Prabhupada in so many ways. Srila Prabhupada himself said that Kali's agent is there. But the beauty is Prabhupada never directly attacked him. In fact, Prabhupada showed him more compassion and gave him shelter. That's even more astounding. The previous acharyas will be saying, no, this is, we never heard of this. This is like, Maharaj Parikshit, what did he want to do? He wanted to kill Kali. Here Prabhupada, knowing that Kali is destroying, is giving him mercy and compassion. It's unheard of. It's unheard of. And Kali even tried to destroy the movement after Srila Prabhupada left. But the movement, even after 50 years, is still going on. So Kali really could not be successful. Yeah, exactly. Kali is going to attack there also, in many ways, right? So yes, the attack can come, but rest assured, those who are faithful and continue, they cannot destroy what Prabhupada has given. Yeah. The potency is there, the power is there, and it will come back to what it's meant to be. Yeah. It may not be in our lifetime, we may not see it, but it will. Yeah. You cannot, it's like you got dirt under the carpet. You got more dirt under the carpet. How much dirt you're gonna? Sooner or later, the carpet's gonna start showing, right? So it's like that. You can't hide, that things which. And again, in relation to this verse, it may seem it's okay, but even if it seems it's okay and it's not okay, it will not give you the desired result. The next mantra is going to talk about knowledge and avidya will give you two different results. See, it will not give you the same results. And, many things, for example, Prabhupada said specific things that we should not change. Like certain books that Prabhupada gave in terms of covers, in terms of paintings. Prabhupada made it very clear, don't change. Because, yeah, Vishnu. Yeah, the Vishnu Yika. So Prabhupada had a reason for that. And remember, because he was giving the books for 10,000 years, there's a reason why he wrote it like that. There's a reason why he prescribed it like that. We can't see for 10,000 years. We see, okay, our population, our current, we want to change. The next generation will change. The next generation will change. Eventually loses the whole reason. So the potency of Srila Prabhupada, we may not appreciate it. It may not gel with us, but that's okay. The truth doesn't need to gel. Okay, they say the truth will set you free. That's true. Even though it may not resonate with us. But the fact that Prabhupada gave it in a certain way, we follow. And that's the beauty. Whatever Prabhupada gave, we simply accept, it will work. You start changing and putting your things, you're going to mess the formula. You get a recipe for halva, follow the recipe, it will work. Now you want to experiment and try different things, change the real outcome of the halva. Okay? All right, so we'll stop there. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.